Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the evening session, day 23 of 28 Days to a New Consciousness. And we begin, of course, right now, live here on the Awaken the World page. And I am Sneezy, one of the seven dwarves. I spent the day pulling all the T-bar down in our basement. And, I don't like T-bar. I really don't. And, fixing up the insulation and starting a proper vapor barrier in preparation for our basement remodeling that we're doing for the bathroom down there. So it's been a lot of work and a lot of fun at the same time because even though you're tearing things apart, that you're going to create a new. And this is the beauty of our existence, of course. Everything must be torn apart in order to make room for the new. And yet we resist that so much. Should not, right, wrong, can't, won't. All of these sorts of words that lead to pushing up against. And of course, one of the most insidious tricks, and I'm just warning you, the reason I said I'm sneezy is I've been in the fiberglass fumes all day. Or not fumes, but particles. And I'm sure I can tell that a bunch of them escaped up my nose. So they're hiding in there right now, and it feels like they're having a little bit of a party. So if I end up sneezing, please excuse me. Hello, Janet. So nice to see you. And yeah, it's going to come. I can tell. They're having a grand old time in there. So one of the most insidious things that ego does, of course, is to attack itself in order to keep you focused on it. And I said something to Kelly today, we were talking about the voice of spirits versus the voice of ego, the voice in your head. And she said to me, as a Christian, we were taught that the voice of the Holy Spirit, or the voice of the first disruptive, then harmonious. Yeah, exactly. Disruptive when I sneeze. You haven't heard me sneeze yet. The whole house shakes. And nice to see you, Miriam, this evening, by the way. So we think of the voice of ego, and the voice of spirit, or the voice of our higher selves, is very quiet. And I said to Kelly, I'll tell you a little secret. The reason the voice of ego is so loud is because all of your attention is there. The voice of spirit speaks in the same volume as the voice of ego, although not in words. It is a knowing that occurs, something beyond the conceptual, beyond the thought process. But the problem is we're so focused on our left ear, where ego is. That little dancing devil dude, I should have brought them along today. That we're not really paying attention to this side at all. And when you begin to let go of the thinking mind, that begins to become quiet. The ego begins to quieten down. And it does so because you're not putting so much of your attention on it. You see, your attention is literally energy. It is the creative energy of your being. And when you place attention on your egoic sense of self, and you're bathed in your thoughts, and you're unconscious, and you're following along, and you're not even realizing that you're not fully present, or that you're judging, or not staying in that state, you're literally feeding the ego an energy boost. And of course, spirit, your higher self, is speaking in a very much different way, but the volume is the same. The difference is your attention. So one of the best ways to quieten the mind, outside of meditation. And meditation is not daydreaming. Meditation should be in the beginning, because it is the most effective that I've found to date, a gentle observance of the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath, the use of a mantra, the use of counting your breaths from 1 to 10, as in Zazen practice in the beginning. So when you use those tools, of course, that helps quiet the mind too. But even though, we always hesitate to use the word battle, we could consider it a battle of sorts. And in that battle, the ego will use many sneaky tricks. And one of those tricks is to begin arguing with itself about whether it should or should not be thinking a certain thing. Now, we know that is a very insidious egoic trick, because the thoughts don't really belong to the ego to start with. They belong to the whole, to the collective. The particular vibrational frequency you have yourself tuned into is going to determine the stream that is roaring into your subconscious mind, and then your conscious mind is going to color that on the way out by your past experiences and what it's currently observing within that thought stream, and it is going to start reading out loud those thoughts to you. So when you get wrapped up in the should or should not thinking, we very easily lose our way. And with Kelly, unfortunately, it's something that she's quite prone to do, because she's still a lot in her head. And that is to allow the mind to begin to fight the mind, which of course is a vicious cycle that never ends. So how do we reduce this should and should not way of thinking? The first is to understand that the thinking does not really belong to you as an individual. It is certainly colored by you, by your past experiences, by your current vibrational state. But the collective of thought is coming as part of the egoic whole that you are part of. It is a misperception that we are individualized on really any level. The second thing you can do, of course, outside of the meditative practices, is to be aware of how to cut that off. As soon as you become aware of it, one of the first things that we usually do, and again, it's another egoic trick, is to become frustrated with ourselves. We must instead learn that when we become aware that we are falling into the shoulds and should nots, and that ego is beginning to argue with itself, the mind is beginning to run rampant, that our awareness of it alone and our ability to simply become aware pulls energy away. When we're unconscious, the energy of our awareness feeds the ego. When we are consciously aware and we're able to reground ourselves in the present moment for a minute, our awareness removes energy from our pain body, from our ego, from our false concept of self. And in those brief moments, those are the moments when spirit can be heard within the depths of the meditation. And as I said to Kelly, over time you will learn that the vast majority of things that your mind is commenting on, it doesn't have to be, and it will eventually stop. What you will find is that the natural right thing to do at the time will become imminently available to you, and not through the process of thought. You will find yourself taking natural action in a state of stillness. Now, that doesn't mean when I am trying to figure out the dimensions of a space I'm going to build that I do not engage the ego and use its calculative and analytical abilities. But once you reach this quieter state of being, the ego is more like a well-behaved partner. And it is incredibly valuable when it is focused and not wandering all over the place to accomplish the necessary analytical and comparative things that we need on a day-to-day basis here in the physical realm. I hope this has been helpful to you. Lucky I haven't sneezed. I managed to bypass that so far. I guess, someone forgot to deliver the keg to the fiberglass particles in my nose. No party for them today. And we will see you tomorrow morning for the morning session of day 24. And of course, we have a great meditation at 9:30 a.m. on the Help Awaken YouTube channel, and then a 1 o'clock live Q&A, what spirituality is and is not. And that is on the Awaken the World YouTube channel at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Much love to you all. Have a beautiful Saturday evening. And of course, pray for spring.